Hello, Dr. Shane. There it is. All right. Thank you, Amy. And thank you, Siobhan, by the way, for hosting us every month. I kind of forget to say that, but thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. Okay, welcome to the May 2nd ISAC meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to start with roll call.
Ruby Edwards.
Here.
William Goldston. Here. Alex Harris. Here. Stan Holtz. Here. Kathleen Pratt.
Here.
Rick Soash.
Here.
Jody Steen.
Here.
Brett Jones.
Here.
David Perry.
Here.
Carter Tate.
Here.
Sherry Sperling.
Sherry is, she was notified me.
Charles Knoll. Here. Aaron Huffman.
Here.
Kendra Kennison.
Here.
Okay. Did the committee have an opportunity to review the April minutes that were emailed to everybody? An opportunity to review the April minutes? If so, are there any corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. There's been a motion to approve the April minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We have on the agenda that we're going to table it. Those of you who were here for last month's regular scheduled ISAC meeting, you may recall that the March minutes were tabled pending some additional minutes that needed to be added. So those minutes are still being edited, and so that's going to be, the March minutes will be tabled again, and we'll take that up in our May meeting, and the March minutes will be distributed to the committee for review and approval at our next June meeting. So with that, we'll move on to consideration of request for excused absences from last month's meeting.
Stan Holtz, Rick Soash, and David Perry were absent April 4th.
Did you all hear that? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the excused absences from last month's meeting? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And I want to welcome back Stan to ISAC. We had some glitches we had to kind of get through, but welcome back, Stan. Glad to see you back. Okay. We're now going to move into public comment. And before we give that, any of you that are here to get up and speak during public comment, please, we've got a sign-in sheet that's up here. There's also one that's over here by Kent. So anyone that wants to come up for public comment, please sign in. If you come up to the microphone, give us your name and your address, please. Also, I would remind you that the ISAC, we are under the Open Meetings Act, and being subject to that act, your remarks can only be limited to 3 minutes. And please remember that the ISAC committee, we cannot engage in discussion at that time about what it is that you may be here to give public comment about. We can state facts, a statement of facts, or we can recite public policy. But other than that, we cannot engage in a conversation with you. And it's not that we're trying to be rude, disrespectful, but we do have to comply with the Open Meetings Act at all of our meetings. And sometimes could be something we can discuss afterwards, after the meeting is concluded. For those of you that are new here, and I want to tell you all a little bit of something about the ISAC committee. I know we're live streaming for a new, I think it's an island Facebook issue or a Facebook group or something. So I want to just say, and for those of you that don't know about the ISAC committee, we are an advisory committee to the Corpus Christi City Council. Each of us are nominated and we are elected by the Corpus Christi City Council to serve. We're all volunteers. None of us get paid for doing any of this, any of our time. So unlike other organizations and other organizations out on the island, like the POA, for example, we don't elect ourselves. We're nominated and elected by the Corpus Christi City Council. We're an advisory committee to the Corpus Christi City Council on island issues. We can make recommendations to the council. We can make motions and approve motions to the city council. We don't have any authority to make binding decisions on our own. We don't have a checkbook that we manage. There is taxing authority out on the island, the TERS too, which we do have a TERS, ISAC TERS subcommittee. But again, that's not a checkbook that we have. So that's no funds that we can have authority on spending. We can only make recommendations and motions to the city council with regard to the expenditure of TERS 2 funds. So I want to just let the public know that we don't elect ourselves. And when we are accountable to the Corpus Christi City Council. So with that, I would invite anyone who is here for public comment, please come up at this time. Anybody here for public comment?
I'd like to make a comment. Okay, this is Carter. It's not ISAC. It's not the POA. This is Carter. And what I wanted to talk about is all the complaining and crybabying and just basic yuckiness that we're dealing with on the island related to some growing pains and, you know, the sand, the trash at Switterbond, the stuff that we're all dealing with. This is a huge monster ship that we're trying to drive, and there's going to be growing pains. And I thought today about suggesting that King's Crossing and Faro Valley golf courses and stuff is a good example of what we're going through here. If we make development so difficult and so, you know, people have been trying to develop this island for 50 years, prior to that, I'm sure. But I mean, this section over here, can you imagine getting in your golf cart or your surf bike and cruising under the bridge over there and going over to Lulu's or whatever? I'm really excited about this development and the things that are going on in the island. And I think we as a community ought to, rather than, you know, making it more and more difficult for these things to happen, we ought to get behind it and help make it happen right. All right? So what happens most times when I talk to people, I hear they're concerned about their values, their property values, and you know, lifestyle and stuff like that. Well, on the lifestyle thing, I can't think of anything cooler than that property being developed and some of the things that are going on over here too. But when you talk about values, that's when King's Crossing and Faro Valley come in. The day that the group that operated that system announced that they were no longer going to care for the golf course, and no longer the country club was going to close down, and that sort of thing. You know, it's arguable what percentage the property values went down, but it was certainly significant. And so I think that we all should be really careful about tearing up development and understand that the development you know, I've got, my next door neighbor is building a pool right now. I mean, it's a pain in the rear going around all the trucks and all the, you know, development is a hard thing, and we all have to get along. In Hawaii, they got this thing called Kama Island deal, and that's, you show your driver's license at the airport, you can fly to any island for $25. It's a camaraderie thing. And I think we should develop that. I was thinking about, you know what, we should develop our own little thing in the car to say hi to people. Anyway, let's instead of complaining, or if you've got a good complaint, come with a solution. You know, I just want us all to get together and support what's going on out here, because I think it's really, really exciting. So that was Carter and nobody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Carter. Anybody else here for public comment?
Yeah, you know, let me. Hello, my name is Heather Cooley, and I reside at 13905 State Street. And actually, I want to respond for a second to what Carter, the resident, had to say. Because Carter, I think you are right. We should be excited about all the development and the exciting things that are going to be happening out here on our island. As for the complaining, I don't really think that requiring, whether it's a developer or a builder, residential or commercial, that they comply with local ordinances, state laws. If that is considered complaining, rabble rousing, or, you know, being a splinter group, call me that, or call anybody else that. But with respect to Schlitterbahn, years later, years behind schedule, it was a dumping ground that the residents faced. So what you're saying essentially is by all that just complaining is that it's okay that we develop, which generates revenue, it doesn't matter what those taxpayers are left to look at. So, again, not asking for anything special, I'm not complaining, just hoping that all development, construction, just complies with local ordinances, state laws. And as for the solution, well, I think that's written into some of those codes and with leadership panels and everybody else looks at. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Okay. Now with that, we are going to move on the agenda to ongoing business. We've got updates by city staff first. Keith.
My name is Keith Selman. I'm the Assistant City Manager for the City of Corpus Christi. We had a PowerPoint presentation. That's what you're accustomed to seeing, is a PowerPoint presentation as we walk through the updates and other things going on. And no machine this evening. So that will either make this presentation very short or very long. But I do want to go through a few points. Following along on your agenda, the traffic consultant status. There's the traffic study that's being done is funded in large part by the Texas Department of Transportation, 80%, Texas Department of Transportation, 20%, the City of Corpus Christi. The City of Corpus Christi is overseeing that project, though, and that project is not yet 60% complete. We are still waiting. They are still waiting on data and other information to get We've not reached a 60% with a rough draft yet. Once we get to 90%, we'll be bringing something to the ISAC for review. Okay, and that's an access management study. They have done a couple of other access management studies. They did one in 2011, and then they updated it in 2011. They did an amendment to it. And this would be a revision to that study.
I thought they would have come to us at 60% state, not at 90%.
Well, we're not at 60%, but we can bring that 60% draft. I don't know if it's in there. We'll see if they can come. If they can't come, we can bring that 60% draft over.
Power of everything is differently than other people.
I'll have to go look through the minutes, but they're waiting on traffic counts from spring break. Engineering still hasn't gotten this. They're going to turn in a report to engineering at 60%. I can see if they would come and give a formal presentation at 60%, or I can just disseminate the report to you guys. And then they will come back at 90%.
And I think that to answer your question, William, that when we can go back and look at the minutes, but I think that when the traffic consultants originally came to present to ISAC, they did tell us that they would come back at 60% or certain increments. So, yeah, 60% would be.
So if they said it, then we'll have them do it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Following continuing on with the agenda, the island engineering projects, one of the things that I'll be bringing to your next meeting is an update on all of the projects. In the PowerPoint presentation, we only have one that we're going to focus on and speak to, but I'll be bringing you an outline of all of those. Also, at every meeting, we will bring you an updated, and we do have the handouts here today for the six-pack projects. We'll be passing that out at every meeting also to keep y'all abreast of all of what's happening with the six-pack projects and all that is happening with the other bond projects. Want to make sure that y'all keep that information in your hands. And when you get that, it passes out to you. If you have a question, you all know that I'm new. So if you would, keep that question, give me that question, and I will chase down the answer to that question and be able to respond back to you, if we could do that way. But the one project I do want to bring up is the solar powered restrooms. That has been approved by City Council. Those restrooms have been ordered. They have not arrived yet. Upon arrival, we will be putting those out. On the bottom projects, the only one we have is that I had on the overhead here is the Village Park, and that will be. We're still waiting on the agreement from the Property Owner Association to process that and move forward on that project. That's what's been.
Village Park.
We have received the agreement with DOA, and it's scheduled to go to council in the next coming weeks. Jay probably knows more about that, and can speak to it when he gets the beach update. That project's still moving forward.
The other one is the beach maintenance facilities. Again, a lot of these things Jay worked on it, can speak to. The beach access road 3A is completed, and I've driven on that road several times myself. That concrete road is in good shape. And yes.
I realize that my truck is a foot and a half wider than most cars, but don't you think those lanes are a little shallow?
I was just describing that to Kent earlier today, and particularly in the curve, it would be a little bit tight. You got to wait on the guy coming through.
I think it might be a problem in the future. Could we possibly put a shoulder on that thing? Some kind of an extension to it? Because what's going to happen is it's going to get super worn down next to the concrete, because.
Well, the edge might get compromised because people are getting off of it, so we'll look at that.
Is there to be any pedestrian, or is it pedestrians, there's nothing there for them? So they're walking the road, they're going to
Bikes.
They can't walk in the sand.
Bikes.
It's just the width, really minimum width, that I don't think passes what any development would have to do, coming before council.
What is it, do you know how wide each lane?
It's no more than 24 feet.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably narrower than that. I don't know the
Yeah,
width,
maybe.
but it's narrower than 24.
Well, then you gotta address, just like you do to the developer, you need to address both for pedestrians, walk, egressing in and out, and also some kind of walk part or something for them, or turning access.
I guess we just slip by us when they get.
I don't think we got to review it.
I think so either.
Yeah, we should have at least got to review it and gotten comments prior to spending how much money.
I'm telling you, it's tough to turn my truck in there.
You can't hurt small cars without phone calls.
We'll look at it, see if we can answer it.
Can we get
Makes
an
a lot of
answer,
sense.
can we get an answer by next meeting?
So what question?
I think we need an answer by next meeting. What's gonna happen with it? And a survey done on it to see if it is too narrow, how are we gonna address pedestrians walking on it at the same time cars?
It was definitely not designed for pedestrians.
No.
You're correct in that.
You gotta have it.
Even if it were,
You have it on
even if
every
it were a
development.
typical roadway section, it would be designed for pedestrians.
County has specifications on what each access roads are.
No, but this would be the county, this is the city.
Well, I understand that, but I thought they were, I was all.
For sure, they don't have the same rules as the development, but they ought to have something.
Well, in the development, there's no mandate for
The
concrete.
beach is hard to develop.
Yeah, it's a different.
But it'd be a great
different-
thing to add a bike, golf cart lane, and in doing so, we could add a little,
Well, we'll look at
Thank
it
you.
and see if there's any resources.
Appreciate you
to
looking.
expand, show.
and,
Although the golf carts can use the.
Yeah, the golf course, it's
street
fairly,
lights,
Sure.
So really, it's more of a pedestrian issue.
okay, and it can be a separate sidewalk.
Yeah, and bike.
I wonder.
well, actually, I'm hearing three different issues. One's pedestrians, one's bikes, and the other one is enough width for the turn maneuver, the 90-degree turn that you got coming
Yep, there are three issues.
on. That's, because you're talking about the lane width, you're talking about pedestrians
It would be
and
awesome.
side and bicycles. And
A bicycle
sometimes
lane
bicycles
and
and
sidewalks.
pedestrians shouldn't be in the same,
You need to be
competing for the
separate.
same space. That's correct.
Bicycling lane, like they have on Shoreline Drive, is separate than your sidewalk.
That's
You
correct.
need your bicycling lane, a curb and gutter, and then you would need pedestrian.
But I suspect there's very few people just speculating at this point. There's probably not too many street bikes.
Do we have enough properties to do that with? Well, anyway, can you,
You gotta be
so,
forward thinking.
so all three of them, I think we think are important to look at, right? So if you want to blame us, I'll be the whip guy, and he's pedestrian and golf cart guy.
Or pedestrian and bike guy. Okay,
Thank you,
we'll look at it.
thank you.
And one of the things that I do want to do, so that the board knows, I'm going to want to spend a little bit more time with your chairman as we make preparation for the agenda, and as we get squared away on the agendas, to get information to you exactly like you want it, how you want it. That's one of the things that we're able to work on and to do a little bit better. And I want to make you aware of that, and also keeping you focused on your role. One of the things we might bring back on the next agenda, if you look in the ordinance, that defines your role. It really targets specifically the area development plan. That's what the role is specifically targeted for. And then the role falls into making recommendations on capital projects. So we may be coming forward and getting your input at the next meeting on capital projects as well as putting something on the agenda for upcoming capital projects, getting your feedback and ideas on that. And with that, I will turn it over to Jay for each of them.
So let me jump back to Village Park for you a minute and tell you the PIPOA and the city have a final document to move the project forward, and I just want to remind you of a couple of things that are in there. It puts up $400,000 from the city side for park development out of the bond package, and in that it requires the PIPOA to put up $200,000, so there'll be a $600,000 pool for improvements to go forward. And then it also establishes an annual maintenance amount in relationship to the PIPOA taking over the maintenance of the facilities as well. So this document will be moving forward here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Yes, sir, Jay?
Do you, at some point in time, let's talk about water for park? Is that included in your agreement?
So the design of the park does have to come back to the city for before they can move forward with awarding a contract for the improvements. And when they bring that final design back to us, it'll tell us what all is in that design, matching that $600,000.
Jay, are you talking about the water supplied by the city to actually do irrigation? Is that still is the city still offering water to blow out the lines that we can use for watering that grass? Remember that?
I remember some of that discussion, Carter, but I don't remember whether that's
Still part of the deal?
part of the development process at this point in time.
Okay.
So, but anything we were doing on the maintenance side is supposed to be covered in this annual amount for maintenance for them to take over.
Well, the water bill could easily eat that $1,800.
Okay.
Especially if you gotta send it down the city.
The agreement 17 has the city providing water for irrigation. It's a year-to-year contract.
Okay.
I don't know if it's moved from 17 to 18 or 19. Okay. And that agreement was established between the POA and the city?
POA and the city,
Okay.
and it's been in draft form, and I don't know, you all may know things more than I do about it being completed in 3 years.
I'll go back and check that for us. All right, 3A, we told you was, and you had some concerns over that. 2, remember, Beach Access Road 2 is still in the process and it's going to be prepared and bid out over the summer with an after Labor Day start on Access Road 2. Okay, so I just want to remind you of that one as well. We are continuing our discussions with the county on the beach maintenance facility as well too. So that's where we are on that. In our beach updates, we've got 20 skidda cans out on the beach for comfort of our visitors. So we have 10 ADA cans and 10 regular cans that are out there. And Keith told you too that the restrooms, the purchase order has been issued for the 4 trailer units. So those will get ordered and hopefully get in here within, the minimum amount of time was 12 weeks. So that purchase order went out at the end of last week. So we're hoping that's in their hand and they'll be scheduling, putting those together for us. If you'd like to take a look at the restroom enclosures, this is where, if you'll remember, we made some enclosures around the skidda cans, okay, that we designed. We have, I don't know whether it's 2 or 4, I think it's 2 of those in place on the north side of Factory Channel. So if you drive out, you can take a look at those. I think they look pretty good. They look a lot like what we showed you in the pictures. So that's our prototype, and that's what we'll be using for those other locations to move forward with that as our time is available to construct some of those. In relationship with that too, our next task to work on is the shower model, which we'll construct as individual units. And in this case, we'll construct a shower unit and a dressing room unit too as our first thing to look at. And then we would be adding shower units to that, okay? So those will be constructed at our beach maintenance facility, and we'll try them out there. We'll try to get that, when we get those done, we'll give you a date to come by or whatever. We can have a meeting out there or something. So we'll try to let you see how those are coming along. We're working on some notification to the public concerning sargassum, seaweed, whatever you want to call it, in our area. So we're working on some signage. I don't want to read one of these to you. I was going to be able to show you this sign, but they are taking the new format that we're using with our signs, and this is how it reads. A natural part of our ecosystem, seaweed is a good thing. It provides food for the birds, turtles, sea life, helps form our beautiful dunes, and decomposes into rich nutrients for our beautiful beaches. Your patience during this seasonal occurrence is greatly appreciated. And one of our biggest complaints always is your beaches are dirty. Well, we do remove that once it dies out and gets to the point where it's of no more value to the ecosystem. So we're going to do 6 or 8 of these in strategic locations, trying to help educate our public as well in that relationship. So you'll see those sometimes as summer comes in. Lifeguards stands will get out between May 15th and 24th. They'll be going out on the beaches. And I think that's all my report for you today. Have any questions? I'll stay here to answer.
Anybody have any questions for Jay?
Jay, just one second, please. I apologize for interrupting the delay, but on Village Park, we don't have a signed contract with the firm yet, but we have a date of Wednesday the 10th to have a public input session here. Wednesday the 10th at 5:30, and then we will have another one the following week, Wednesday the 17th at 5:30. We would like to have it here, we're just not sure if it's going to be here yet. So I felt it was important to announce that because we're running short on time to get that notice out.
We repeat those May 10th and May 17th here at Fetterbond for input sessions for the Village Park designs. May 10th, May 17th, 5:30.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jay. I'll get the other Jay up here. Are we getting the Watershore Beach Advisory?
Sort of.
tonight?
Not really. Actually, we haven't met yet because of the management schedule. But we will be talking about the mowing mats at North Beach and at Acre, the state hot funds for FY 2018. We'll also have our beach maintenance subcommittee should have met by the time we meet next time to talk about sargassum and beach widths, Acre amenities, and a few other housekeeping items. And also we are tackling out the agreement between the GLO and the city regarding bollards on the beach in front of the seawall. So we'll see and update that next time. Thank you.
Jay? Okay, we're gonna move on then. I think that's all we've got on updates and beach and park management. So we're going to move on the agenda to the next item, which is new business. And really, it's not new business, it's more just an update. I wanted to update the ISAC committee on what our ISAC TERS subcommittee, we met, and I wanted just to give all of you all just an update on what we did, and any decisions that are lack of decisions that we made. But you all should have in front of you that Kent handed out to you something that has, it's got numbers, and it's entitled Project with Funds from Tax Investment Reinvestment Zone number 2. It's numbers 1 through, there's like a front and back, y'all each have that. Numbers 1 through 14. Okay. So what I want to do as part of the ISAC TERS subcommittee meeting, we looked and addressed that there's a couple of these numbers that I wanted the ISAC for you all to be aware of. And if you look at number 8, there's been some numbers that have changed, and so there's a revised numbers for the Packery Channel restroom facilities. So those we talked about at our ISAC TERS subcommittee meeting, that number has changed, but it's also been approved by council, I believe. And then the Packery Channel ramps to jetties, there's also a revised number there. I would also, I want you all to be aware that under the maintenance building, you'll see here under number 12, there's a 0 in that column. And that is just because there's not been an agreement reached with the county on the maintenance building. And so at this point, that's why you see a 0 there. The actual TERS 2 finance project plan, which we do not have a final complete copy of yet, but I think we're going to get that here soon. The actual TERS 2 project and finance plan was approved by council. It was approved, there were 2 items that we discussed at our ISAC TERS subcommittee, and the 2 items that we discussed, one of them had to do with the Marine Patrol boat that we all kind of are aware of. That's some discussion historically about the boat that patrols out on the Packery Channel. So there was one issue that had to do with that Marine Patrol boat. What we learned at our ISAC subcommittee meeting was that the boat was, at that point in time, was downtown in storage or something, and so we had some concerns about that, expressed those concerns, and as a result of that piece of information, our ISAC TERS subcommittee voted against the item that had to do with the yearly increase of 3% for that boat. But the project plan, the TERS project plan that the city council has voted on and approved, they excluded this 3% for the patrol boat. And I think we're going to, as a ISAC TERS subcommittee, we're going to look more closely into the use of that boat. What does the boat do? What is the cost of that boat? And get some more, our subcommittee's going to get more information about what exactly is how often is the boat being used out there. So that's sort of in the future to be looked at. The next item that we talked about was cost to support the administrative. Sure.
Wasn't that boat originally purchased, just for us?
Yes, it was. And so that was one of the reasons why we had some concern about where is the boat, how often is the boat being used, what exactly, because I think we learned, or we did learn, that boat, they don't really have authority to issue citations to people. They don't have authority to stop people from Packery Channel. So there was some discussion at our ISAC TERS subcommittee meeting of, well, if they don't have the authority to cite people, stop people, what exactly are they doing? And how often are they out there? So that's information that we're going to get, and at our next ISAC TERS subcommittee, we will get that information and we'll be discussing that to look at justifying the continued expenditure for the boat. That answer your question? Okay, so the next thing that the ISAC TERS subcommittee looked at was an item that has to do with, we learned that there were there was cost to support administrative functions of Packery Channel that we learned were also being part of our island TERS 2 budget. So that we looked at. We've got JJ Hart, who's a member of the committee, is looking and getting more information for us so that the next time we meet, we can hopefully have more information about what administrative costs relating to Packard Channel are being charged to the TERS 2. But I will say, and can report to you that even though we're going to look at it, it won't matter a whole lot because City Council also disapproved that. So the TERS 2 project plan, the finance plan that was approved by City Council April 28th, I believe it was, or the end of April, it was approved without those two items in it, without the 3% for patrol growth and without the cost to support the administrative functions of Packard Channel. But no matter, our committee's still going to be looking into it just so that we have the information, we can bring the information to the ISAC committee. Okay. So, and then we'll get the clean copy of the TERS finance plan that has been approved by City Council, the TERS 2 finance plan, so that you all have a copy of it. We know, and you all may remember, it was distributed to us a month or two ago and it had green parts and blue parts and red parts. Do you remember that? So that document, we're going to get finalized and brought to you all hopefully next month. And
Do
completely.
we have any way of knowing what has been charged to administrative expenses and charged by investment?
That is what JJ is looking at for us. He's doing some good work for us.
There's dollar amounts.
It's a budget line item, yeah, we could go back and do it if we want. It's just that we found that the other TERS is not charged.
Well, they may be charged.
The first result of that was the TERS downtown hasn't been connected forever, and then as per a line item of how much time city council and other entities have to look at the minutes and go through and determine is why that dollar amounts on.
Yeah, and that's why we're looking into it, and we're going to have JJ report back to us next month with some more detailed information about TERS 2, TERS 3, just so you all know. And you know, there's like two areas of Corpus Christi that have the TERS, tax investment, tax increment refinance on it. The island and downtown. We're TERS 2, downtown is TERS 3. So, so the issue was been talking about, just so you, our committee understands, that we at first were informed that TERS 3 was not paying any administrative costs. Then we learned that in fact TERS 3 is paying some administrative costs, but that there may be some difference between what the two TERS 2 and TERS 3 are paying administrative costs. So we're not there yet. We're getting the information. JJ's doing great work in investigating that and getting information for us. And by next month's meeting, we'll hopefully have more for you with more clarity and certainty. So, any other questions about the ISAC TERS subcommittee meeting? You guys have any other questions, comments? Okay. All right. Well, then with that, unless we have anything else, Keith, you have anything else? Okay. We'll schedule our next meeting.
June 6th.
June 6th. Okay. June 6th. 5:30, same place, same station. All right, thank you all for coming, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, all those in favor?
Record time.
And we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
It turned out to be short.
No PowerPoint.
Starry, starry night.